What up YouTube? How are you feeling today? Hope you're doing great. Hope you're doing fantastic. Back with another Division 2 video and back with another banger of a build video. Today we're going over my protection from elites build. Yes sir, this is a must have build in your arsenal. This is so good, especially now with Countdown. Why is it so good within Countdown? Because most of the enemies, all not every single enemy, is an elite enemy. Just like the hunters, they will be marked as an elite enemy as well, and you will be protected from a lot of their damage output. You can just stand in the middle of the room, people are shooting at you, and it takes forever to go down. And I'm not talking about a full blue build, guys. No, I'm talking about a full red build with protection from elites. So your crits will still hit up to that 1.1, 1.2 million. This build still shreds and you are protected for almost the max cap of 80%. This is so much fun to play with, and you can even play it with normal missions. But keep in mind, you are not protected from the red bars, the purple bars, because the game doesn't recognize them as elites because they are not a gold bar. So make sure that you are not walking into a room, you think you're protected for everything. 5 red bars in front of you, you're dead. You're dead, guys. You're dead. It's over and out. You cannot get protected from red bars or from purple bars. But still, the most annoying enemies in these missions are, of course, the gold bars, the elite bars, the named enemies. So this will protect you against those. So you can run through Lincoln, for example, as you can see in the background right now. Or the best way, still the best way to go, is to run through Countdown. Countdown is a lot of fun at the moment, and of course gives us a lot of loot. That is just hands down the best way to farm at this moment. But like I said, you can still run through normal missions as well. But I prefer to use this build on the Countdown. You are protected for so much and still hitting those crit numbers. But enough intro, guys. Let's dive right into the gameplay. Like you see, I'm showing you a little bit of Lincoln, and then of course we're jumping into some Countdown where this build shines, protected from every single elite. And we're not using the close range damage with this gameplay. Why? Because there's a little bit of bug going on that the close range damage will give you a lot more damage output than you should have. So we skip the close range damage. We have some long range damage on there, of course, but this is the closest how the build will actually hit, not boosting it up through Countdown. Enjoy!
dangerous target approaching.
So like always, let's start with our specialization, and for this build we're using the technician specialization. Next to, of course, getting extra skill tier, next to doing 12% damage to drones, skill proxies and robotics, we are using this for the linked laser pointer. Why the linked laser pointer? The only thing you have to do is aim at people and you will pulse them. We are using the perfect spotter on this build, so this is one of the must-haves, especially if you're fighting the hunters. Your skills will get jammed, you cannot use your pulse, so this linked laser pointer is just straight up the best way to go. Make sure that you stack into rifle damage. Why? Because we're not using a rifle. You need to stack into rifle damage to get the linked laser pointer to unlock, and then you can use it on every single gun that has a long rail underbarrel. So definitely use this, guys. This is one of the best specializations out there right now in this TU15 update, until of course we get the spec revamp. But let's jump over to my skills and see what I'm using on this build. For my skills, I of course use the Reviver Hive. Why the Reviver Hive? Because most of the time when I use this build, I'm running into Countdown. There are a lot of enemies. They can just run out, they can just run into you and then explode, and you could get taken out. It's not as fast as with normal builds because we have a lot of protection from elites, almost maxed out protection from elites, so you don't really need it. You could go for something else, but I always like it, especially if you're fighting hunters or even multiple hunters. They can still take you down pretty fast. Next to that, we're rocking the chem launcher. What kind of chem launcher? We're rocking the Riot Foam chem launcher. Why? Because it's just very satisfying to just trap people within an opening of a door. Just shoot that chem launcher, they all trapped in the opening, and it's easy claps in taking them out. It's a lot of fun, and that's why I'm using the chem launcher next to that. I have 9.8% in share duration on there and 1 extra ammo, so this boosts me up to an ammo of 3. Why an ammo of 3? Because we're getting an extra skill tier from our technician. So we have 3 extra pellets, or 3 total pellets to use for this chem launcher. It is a lot of fun, and it's definitely very helpful. And there we are at the build, starting with my weapons. I'm using the Kingbreaker. This is on the expertise level 12, so I'm getting an extra 12% weapon damage on this gun, and that's why my gun is hitting for 148.1k. Next to that, of course, the core attributes and the normal attributes are all maxed out. 15% assault rifle, 21% health damage, and of course at 10% damage to target out of cover. One of the best attributes to go for on a weapon. Next to that, why are we using the Kingbreaker? Because this of course comes with a perfect flatline talent. Amplifies your weapon damage by 20% to pulse enemies, and after 2 kills applies a pulse to the next enemy you hit. This is very useful. And next to that, we're using 1 critical hit damage mod, 1 critical hit chance mod, of course the linked laser pointer, and then next to that the sturdy extended 7.62 mag with that extra 20 rounds. The secondary I'm using is the Scorpio. Why the Scorpio? Because this helps out a lot against hunters. You only have to tap him a few times, all the status effects will be applied, and it's pretty easy for you and or your teammates to take him out. We all know first pellet hits is poison, third pellet hit is disorient, sixth pellet hit is shock, and for the 7th pellet you will get an additional 20% damage from all sources. So remember guys, this 20% is multiplicative damage. So if you hit that 7 pellets on an enemy and somebody else is shooting him, he will get an extra 20% multiplicative damage on that enemy, and this is why this Scorpio is so freaking good. Of course, they're standing in their own spot because they disorient, they are shocked, they are poisoned, and then getting that extra damage on there. This is why I'm using the Scorpio, and it is a very, very good secondary to play with. And for my handgun, I went for the X45. Why the X45? Because I wanted to get up to that proficiency level. I always use just handguns to get on my builds and up them to that proficiency level. So you can choose whatever handgun you want. I just used one that I don't have proficient yet and get it up to that rank level 10. So I don't have to farm for handguns just yet. A quick and easy way, I'm almost never using my handgun. Then starting with my build, starting with the mask, I'm rocking a Fenris mask, of course maxed out on everything. Weapon damage 15%, 12% critical hit damage, 6% critical hit chance, and I got a mod of 12% protection from elites on there. Why are we using the Fenris next to that? Of course, the 10% assault rifle damage. Jumping over to my backpack, I'm using a Gruppo backpack. Why the Gruppo? Because this gives us an extra 15% critical hit damage and everything is maxed out again, except for my mods, because I'm still hunting for that 13% protection from elite mods. It's so hard to find, but back to the build, 15% weapon damage, 12% critical hit damage, 6% critical hit chance, and then the mod, 12% protection from elites on there, and I rolled Vigilance. Of course, we all know Vigilance increases our total weapon damage by 25%, but if you get hit, this disables this buff for 4 seconds. This is also why I'm using my cam launcher. Shooting the cam launcher on the ground, trapping that enemy, he will not aggro you. I will repeat, he will not aggro you. As long as the enemy is foamed, they will not aggro you. So you can take him out real fast, real quick, even with this build. With the full protection from elites, you can still one-clip an enemy. So don't worry about that. Of course, the Vigilance will be disabled from time to time, but we tested out a lot, especially yesterday in stream. We tested it out a lot, but still Vigilance will give us a little bit more damage over time. Because yes, we're losing it, but there are a lot of times that you will not lose Vigilance. Even if your teammates are closer to the enemy so they pick up the aggro, or of course you foam them down so they are focused on the foam instead of aggroing you. This is in my opinion still the best talent to go for the backpack. And then over to my beautiful, beautiful chest piece, a full red closer. Yes guys, this is the Usina Getica named chest, the closer, of course coming with that perfect spotter. Next to that, I found it with critical hit damage maxed out. The only thing I had to optimize was the critical hit chance. So this gives me an opportunity to roll the weapon damage over that armor core so I could create a full red closer. And man, I'm so freaking proud of this chest. I'm loving it. Then next to that, of course, we went for another 12% protection from elites mod. And for my holster, my knee pads and my gloves, I'm rocking the improvised gear. What's the improvised gear? This gear can be crafted at the crafting station. You cannot farm for it, you can only craft it. So go over to your crafting station and start crafting. And in my opinion, go then for the holster, the knee pads and the gloves. Those are the ones that I went for, and I found them with critical hit chance, critical hit damage and weapon damage on there. So this gave me the opportunity to add that mod of protection from elites on there. And this is why I'm using improvised gear, because we can add a mod to this gear. Every single improvised gear that you craft will always come with a mod slot, and we know that all the other gear for holsters, for knee pads and for gloves will not come with a mod slot. So that's why I'm using the improvised gear. Like I said, I'm using weapon damage, critical hit chance and critical hit damage. Exactly the same for my knee pads. Weapon damage, critical hit chance, and then the mod 12% protection from elites on there. And then same for my gloves. 15% weapon damage, 6% critical hit chance, 12% critical hit damage, and then that 12% protection from elites mods on there. So overall, this is the build, guys. This is the build. So 3 pieces of improvised gear for those extra mod slots. Then next to that, I went, of course, for the closer with the perfect spotter on there. A mask of Fenris and then a bag of GOOO for that extra damage output, for that extra critical hit damage. Of course, the Kingbreaker, then with the Scorpio. So let's jump over to my stats and see how high the stats really are on this improvised build. So going over to that 51% critical hit chance. I'm already satisfied with that 51% critical hit chance. That's why I went for a mod of critical hit damage on my gun. If you want the critical hit chance a little bit higher, change the mod on your gun to a secondary critical hit chance. You boost it up another 5%, so you will hit that 56% critical hit chance. But I'm down with that 51%. One tip I will give you: always work towards that 50 to 55% critical hit chance before stacking into that critical hit damage. Yes, if you stack all the way up to that critical hit damage, your critical hit shots will hit harder. But if you have a higher critical hit chance, then the chance of a critical hit shot being landed is higher. Because you can boost up that critical hit damage quite a lot, but only having 22% critical hit chance will not help you out. Always go for critical hit chance first and then critical hit damage. The critical hit damage on this build is only 137%, or only. We're not using any mods, so it's already on 137%. This is pretty high for not wearing any critical hit damage mods and only stacking into the protection from elites. Talking about the protection from elites, we have 72% protection from elites, guys. In my opinion, this is enough. You can of course go for example, the chill out mask as well. Get that Fenris out of there, get that chill out mask on there. We have double mods on there, so you can attach 2 protection from elites mods on there and you will reach the cap of 80%. Or you can go for the pulse skill and then switch over your technician to the specialization of the survivalist. Why the survivalist? That's the bow specialization, because that will always give you that 10% protection from elites. So we could switch over and then get the bow out, but then I'm missing that linked laser pointer. I personally want that linked laser pointer so I can combine the linked laser pointer for the pulse, and of course using my foam to shoot them down to make sure that my vigilance is procced like 80% of the time. So that's why I'm using the technician, but you can switch it over to get it to that cap of 80%. But in my opinion, it isn't really worth it to go for that extra 8%. Yes, you are protected a lot more, or for 8% more, but you're missing your linked laser pointer. You need to use the pulse. If you then are jammed by a hunter, you cannot pulse enemies, so all your damage goes away from this build. You cannot proc the perfect spotter on your chest. You cannot proc the perfect flatline, so you're missing a 40% amplified damage on this build if you go for that. So that's why I chose for 72%. I'm very happy with that. And even if you are maxed out on all your protection from elites mods, so if you have 13% protection from elites mods, it will boost you up to that 78%. So you will only lose 2% to the cap. So that is what I'm aiming for, going for all the 13% protection from elites mods to get this build even more powerful. But yeah guys, that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments down below what you think about this build, what would you change around this build, or how are you playing with this build. I've seen the Memento backpack in there as well, getting some more armor regeneration, getting of course an extra skill tier, so you will get 4 pellets of course for your chem launcher, for your riot foam, and then getting that extra weapon damage percentage on there. I tested it out as well, but I think this is still the best way to go, as within Countdown, you're not really taking out that much people. You're doing it with a group, but most of the time that last shot isn't yours. So, of course, then the procs for the memento will not drop. The strong arms that you can pick up to get your memento up to that max cap of 30% will not drop. So it's pretty hard to get a maxed out memento, 30% weapon damage, 30% skill efficiency, and a 3% arm regeneration. It's pretty hard to get there, to get that 30 kills before you're going towards the helicopter to extract. And that's why I chose this build. But again, guys, hit me up in the comments down below how you're running it. And definitely try out this build. Come back to me and hit me up in the comments how you're liking it. But that's all, guys. Thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Don't forget to smash that like button and hit that subscribers button. And of course the notification bell. PurePrime out.